Terracotta Army, bro. This
Many other souls.
and many other souls.
And many other souls.
This is a this is an interesting spot. I can't wait till we discuss this, honestly, because I'm there's things about it that make me go and there's things about it make me go So the discussion for this, I think, is going to be pretty good here.
It's interesting, and I dug in. I got some dirt on, literally, not, because that's where it was. It was in the dirt, but I got some dirt literally on the Terracotta Army and things surrounding how it was made, how it was discovered, and how the people were relocated after discovering it.
Very few
all kinds of stuff. Yeah. All kinds of stuff happened with this. But let's say we get started.
Yeah, let's hit that intro and let's get into this.
All right, let's go. Spirits of Spirits in 5, 4, 3, 2.
What's up, everyone? I know it seems like it's been a while since we've been on our normal night, Friday night, but we are here, and
believe us.
Don't worry, be happy. But this is Spirits of Spirits, Season 4, Episode 15, the Terracotta Army. I am your host for Ghost.
I have many regrets.
And yes, a lot of people have many regrets about that. And your host with the most, Mr. David Lowe. What is going on tonight, Dave?
What is up, my brother? So we are here to talk about the Terracotta Army. This and I don't want to spoil too much because I've got a nice little history video going with this, but were they created or were they cursed to join the first emperor? That's the big question.
Yeah, like there was some interesting history on this and findings. Rich, what's going on?
What's going on, Rich? Rich, new grandpa.
Hey, I'm another new grandpa. Congratulations, Mr. Rich. That is the if there's something that can outdo having your children, it's having grandchildren, and I fucking love it. It's amazing. My daughter just had a beautiful baby girl. Rich's daughter just had a beautiful baby.
Boy, Jacob is his name. I am supposed to answer to that. Yes.
Oh boy. And there's Rich. All right.
And Rich confirms boy.
Yeah.
I know his name was Jacob, so I'm guessing it's a boy.
Your hair.
Jacob. Please. All right. Good name. Like the name. Jacob. It's not Lozano, because probably right. Not gonna be the same last name, but
no, because his daughter's married. So,
but man, congratulations, Rich. It's man, I like last Friday, my daughter, which is why we went pushed this back a week.
So Bass is the last.
Jacob Bass. That's like man, that's a linebacker name right there.
That's right. Jacob Bass, TCU.
TCU. Play for the Horned Frogs. We missed last week due to the birth of my granddaughter, a beautiful baby girl. Oh man, it's just a great feeling. I know Dave knows this feeling, and
I'm old hat. It's been
and soon he's gonna know the feeling again.
I got another one coming. Yeah, so
this is great. It's great. It's great.
I love being a grandparent. You get all the perks and none of the
responsibilities.
Just shake them up and give them back. Give them some espresso and a kitten and give them back to their parents. There you go.
But yeah, amazing feeling. I love it. I love being a grandparent. It's just it's an amazing feeling. Like I said, if there's something that can outdo being a parent, it's being a grandparent, you know.
Yep.
And of course, my lovely wife got the awesomeness of being in the room when my granddaughter came out, so she was all happy. Oh yeah, yes. But no, we are talking Terracotta Army, and there's a lot of good stuff that goes along with this Terracotta Army. I don't know score wise how this is going to score. I have some questions, and I can't wait for the discussion.
I gotta say, I had some difficult parts on this too when I pre-scored it.
Yeah.
Because it's really all about how you look at it.
Yeah.
Is it this or is it that? I mean, it was really interesting to go through the research and because not only I really think there's a little bit of a combination of all three aspects, because we talk about with objects, it's either they're attached, haunted, or cursed.
Yes.
And I really think we have aspects of all three here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Question is, where do we throw those points? Do we think it's more cursed than attached? Do we think it's more haunted?
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm not gonna lie, I scored this place very low, based off the research. Now, of course, I never stick with my original score based off of discussion, so there is a lot of room to grow in a lot of different areas.
Okay. Good. I mean, I think I'm reasonable. I'm not the lowest we've scored for any
it's kind of crazy,
but I'm pretty low
because I score this and I go
stat,
and just not really paying attention. I just write my numbers down and then I add it all up. I'm like, that's kind of disappointing.
Oh crap!
Really? I thought this would be way better. Really, but like I said, there's a lot of wiggle room here for the scoring. I can't really wait to get into the discussion, Dave. So I say let's roll the history video. Let's see the awesome work that you do, and start really getting into this.
All right, sounds good. Let's get into the history of the Terracotta Army. Check this out. 50 years ago, a discovery was made that was called the eighth wonder of the world. This is the story of the Terracotta Army. This army was found in the tomb of the first emperor of a unified China, Qin Shi Huang. Construction began in 246 BCE, when the emperor was only 13 years old. Sima Qian wrote about its construction 100 years after its completion, as part of the records of the Grand Historian. In this record, more than 700,000 people were enlisted to build the Grand Tomb. The writings state that the tomb was filled with the models of palaces and other official buildings, plus jewels and rarities. They even used liquid mercury to represent China's rivers and waterways. Automatic crossbows were to be installed to slay anyone entering the tomb. When Qin suddenly died in 210 BCE, his son decreed that his father's concubines join him in death. The son then felt the artisans that built the tomb's mechanical devices knew too much, so they were buried alive as well. Trees and grass were planted on the mausoleum to make it look like an ordinary hill, and it was said that disturbing the grave of the first emperor, or any ancestral grave, brought a curse that would bring misfortune and death. The Yang village followed this for over 1,000 years. Then the droughts came, and the village believed that the curse was upon them because they disturbed the ground beneath their feet. Over the next few centuries, the villagers would dig a well and accidentally run into one of these clay soldiers. The villagers believed that they were awakening the gods of the underworld, which they referred to as deity pottery. Then on March 29th, 1974, 3 farmers were trying to dig a well because of a great drought in the region. 5 meters down, a head appeared. These men had uncovered a chamber filled with an army of multicolored clay soldiers. The color faded instantly as the pit was exposed to the air. In total, 4 main pits were discovered in the necropolis that is near the mausoleum, and one of the pits was completely empty. The 2007 estimate states that in the 3 remaining pits, there were more than 8,000 soldiers, 130 chariots with 520 horses, and 150 cavalry horses. There are other pits containing officials, acrobats, strongmen, musicians, and even an underground park filled with bronze ducks and cranes. It is believed that the Terracotta Army was formed out of molds, with all the soldiers having distinct facial features and expressions. But I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about another legend, one that says that after the first emperor's death, his army was cursed to join him in this form and guard him in the afterlife. Since the discovery, not a lot about this history can be proven. What they were able to prove was the fact that testing of the soil revealed high levels of mercury, and a magnetic scan of the unopened inner tomb revealed a large number of coins scattered around. We're here to prove something completely different. Is the Terracotta Army cursed somehow? Or are the soldiers ever present in the afterlife to protect their emperor? As we uncover the truth, I hope we don't get buried alive as well. Did you hear that right at the end?
Nuh-uh.
Because my ghost tube, as soon as it ended, as soon as it ended, my ghost tube went uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable.
And that's why I was laughing, because it was just like hit like right when it ended.
Wow.
Right when it started, my ghost tube said God.
Mine said ancient times, bodies below my family memories, many family memories. That's what mine said. I went, huh?
That's
basement.
That's very, very accurate for what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. This is where I'm kind of leaning toward curse here, because originally and this is funny because they're saying, all the Terracotta Army was all made with molds and constructed by people. And okay, I'll buy that.
Facial features.
Yeah, but they've all got distinct facial features, expressions.
They're not copies of one another.
They're not copies. They're
different.
Yeah, they're all different. So they made each mold
quiet.
different, and then that's telling me to be quiet,
Including the horses.
Yeah,
I mean,
including the horses, the chariots, the cavalry riding the horses.
Similar statue in this thing.
No, and there's over 8,000 soldiers.
Yeah, not counting the acrobats and strongmen.
Not counting the acrobats, the strongman, the whole necropolis. This is just, this is just what's guarding the inner tomb, which is where the first emperor is.
Which they have yet to open.
They were not opening. All they've done is a magnetic scan inside, and they've discovered coins. Now they've discovered high levels of mercury in the necropolis.
Yeah, but there might have been rivers of mercury inside with the first emperor.
Well, according to what I read, and I did note that in the thing, is that they used mercury because they basically had models of all the palaces and structures of the period, and they used liquid mercury
this is my place.
No, this is my place, to resemble the waterways and rivers in the models.
But that's also how the first emperor died, was mercury poisoning.
It was like all of a sudden unexpected boom. He dipped. He's out. And they're like
mercury, thinking it was the elixir of life, and it was not.
It's the elixir of death.
It was not.
It's not. So anyway, so they started building this when the emperor was 13 years old.
Yeah.
And then when, the story goes, when the emperor died and they buried him, the son's like, okay, all you concubines go in with him.
Yep. They said
and then all the artisans who took part in building the mechanics it had to go in with him because they knew too much about the tomb.
Yeah. They didn't want nobody knowing that.
So all those people were buried alive with the emperor.
Yeah. Reminds me of, that's some Egypt shit right there,
Yeah.
And this thing is the largest tomb ever recorded.
Mm-hmm.
This makes, I mean, I guess if you want to count the whole pyramid as a tomb for some of those pharaohs over there, but this thing's huge. So this gets unearthed.
Yeah. So you get this. This is
5 dudes. Yeah.
So these dudes, it starts out with 3 dudes. So this guy, they basically, because they were so afraid to dig wells here.
Yeah.
Because they were afraid they were gonna bring a curse on them, or that they were gonna awaken some underground god. They would do lots. They would kind of do a lottery to figure out who was picked to actually dig the well.
Yeah.
And this guy Yang was picked. So Yang said, okay, I'm going to grab my 2 sons and we're going to start digging this well. And then they grabbed a couple of friends. So there's altogether 5.
Yeah.
They start digging this well.
Yep.
And they find the head of this soldier.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh crap. And it likes to hurt people. So they had to keep digging because they needed a well. There was a drought. They had no water. They keep digging and they find the pit with all these dudes. So they were the first ones to actually discover the full-on pit of all the soldiers. But back centuries, they would dig a well and discover a figure and then bury it.
Yeah.
Because they thought the curse would, oh shit, curse. And they would bury it. So it was like hundreds of years before they were actually digging these figures up, finding pieces of them and stuff. And then it was said that if they unearthed a figure or a piece of a figure, that they would be cursed.
Yeah.
Angela.
and cursed they were. If you think about it, they
thought the drought itself
was a curse,
which they were dealing with for hundreds of years, was a curse upon them, was because they were so close to the tomb and they were disturbing the ground.
Yeah.
Trying to dig the wells. So they thought that itself was a curse on them, which it makes sense.
Yeah. I thought they didn't know that the land even held the tomb there, though.
No, not because they went like a long time and all that stuff was forgotten. And then they dug up the full thing. But the centuries before, they knew about the tomb.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And you know, like I said, they would dig up a figure and they go, oh crap, we're awakening the gods or we're disturbing the ancestors, and they'd bury it back up. But then 1974, all that shit's forgotten.
They dig it up and holy shit, we got a head.
oh crap. Let's
then they bring it back to the village that's been there for 2,000 years. And like, we didn't dig a well, but we found a head.
Yeah, found a head. And then, oh, guess what? We just found like 1,000 of these things.
Yeah, I mean, and the government comes in and just takes control of the land.
Yep.
And demolishes this village. I mean, this village is now a place for freaking souvenir shops.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
No, it's all all it's all museums and souvenir shops and all kinds of crap. Now, they took everybody from the village, from the Yang village.
Yeah.
And they destroyed all their mud huts and shoved them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They relocated them to another spot, which again leads to the curse.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I mean, people are like, "Oh, that's not really a curse." I'm like, "But is it? Isn't it
though?
Isn't it though? I mean, I'd feel pretty fucking cursed if they took all my land, destroyed my fucking whole village, and kicked me out of there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd feel pretty cursed. And then 3 out of the 5 die.
Yeah.
I mean, down the road, 3 by suicide? No, 1 by suicide.
1 by suicide.
And 2 by other sicknesses.
But they all had to live in poverty.
Yeah. And
even though they did interviews and all kinds of stuff after they discovered it, they didn't get 1 cent for any of that.
Yeah, and the freaking 2 that are still alive literally make $2 a day.
Yeah.
I'm in my 40s.
Talk and sign books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? You find basically the 8th wonder of the world, and you're just outcasted. Like, nope. You get nope. I mean, that feels a little cursy to me.
Yeah.
That feels a little cursy. The crazy thing is, all right, so they've been doing tons of work on this place. They finally got it open up to where you can go visit and all that stuff. I think it opened up 10 years ago or something like that now, that where you can actually partake in tours inside there. And they're profiting very well off of it. It's the 8th wonder of the world now.
Yeah.
And what I was astonished to not find was more paranormal activity inside this tomb.
Okay. I've got something. Because people that visit the tomb, they hear voices, they hear horses, they hear armor, like the army is like moving, marching. Yeah. They all this stuff is heard. Now I do think it's all residual.
Yeah.
But what's funny is, okay, if the Terracotta Army is made from molds, why are they hearing soldiers in the tomb?
Yeah.
And why aren't they hearing the voices of the concubines and the artisans that were buried alive in there?
Yeah. And they did find bones. They found plenty.
They found bones.
And skeletal bones.
Yeah, they found skeletons.
Yeah.
So that brought to me like, okay, so what if the curse that formed the Terracotta Army, which means the first emperor's army was cursed to join him in the afterlife by basically taking this form. So all the soldiers and all the infantry and all the cavalry, everybody like went in there and they turned to stone, and that was their
My
thing.
name is Irene.
They do say that this curse is possible. So the way I scratched this up is there's like 3 different curses
Watched.
that are possible here.
The curse from the disturbance here.
The curse. So there's the curse of not disturbing any ancestral graves.
Yeah, which the village felt for doing that.
Right. There's the curse for specifically for disturbing the first emperor's tomb.
Yeah.
And then there's the curse that the soldiers themselves had that became the Terracotta Army. They were cursed to join the emperor in that form. None of that can be proven.
Isn't that the same as the second curse though?
No, because they weren't disturbing the first emperor. They were made to join him.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So in the emperor's death, his army was cursed to join him in that form.
I mean, and these things are complete stone, so it's not like just they're a shell of a person. They are complete stone.
They're solid. Yeah,
they are Medusa'd.
That's an interesting. Okay, hashtag that. It's not helpful touching, but Medusa.
They got Medused.
Medused.
They got Medused.
Okay. Because if you say they got stoned, it'd be a totally different thing.
Everybody wants to get stoned. No.
Yep. So it could be like like there's 3 curses.
Yeah. But I mean, when I think of the paranormal activity, you're right. You do hear horses. You do hear what sounds like a soldier moving.
Range, you hear marching.
You do hear people talking. Maybe I think is what it was saying. I was just expecting maybe a little more of a haunt here,
right,
than what is being put out there. And we are dealing with China.
That
could definitely be governmental, but with the amount of foot traffic that goes in that place now, you would think you might hear a little bit more coming out. Now, mind you, a paranormal investigation has never been done in this place, right? You haven't had a team go in. I can already tell you right now, your EMF would probably be through the fucking roof in this place. Just based off of the center chamber. But it's kind of interesting that this is what's being told or being let out, and not much other than that. I did watch a little documentary.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And there was a guy that said he swore he saw one of the soldiers move.
Yes.
But there was no movement tracks when they went to investigate what was going on. But it was not a paranormal investigation. Like, they weren't there to investigate. They were just doing a documentary on the Terracotta Army.
Mm-hmm.
There's quite a few pretty cool documentaries out there. I would recommend go watch them because, one, it's a fucking fascinating story. It's a fascinating find. One, it has to deal with the first Chinese emperor. I find that very, very interesting because, you talk about the Ming dynasties and all that stuff like that. But here you have, and I can't believe you said the name perfectly.
I practiced that.
Oh my damn, dude.
Unexplained.
I'm like, oh, look at that. He said, Chi Hong.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
I'm like, oh, dang. You nailed it. But I mean, this is phenomenal. phenomenal. And what if he had what if he had probably guesstimate how many people, if the army and everything is true, he buried like 9,000 people with him.
And almost 700 horses.
Yeah.
Stella.
And and we're not even talking, how many acrobats and musicians and strongmen and an underground park with geese and ducks in it.
Geese and ducks, yeah.
Crazy.
What
so intricate. The necropolis here is so intricate. It's crazy.
What trips me out is they actually buried it, right? Like they filled it in with dirt.
Yeah.
And except for the inner chamber. His tomb, which is the emperor's tomb, everybody was filled over with dirt. Like they didn't build a structure to keep the dirt out, which I found amazing. I was like,
they dug the pits out, because that is where when the guys were digging and they found the place, they got to a point where they couldn't dig anymore, where the ground was too hard. It was that hard red clay. So
Blu-ray showed up on the Instagram.
My heart.
Hey, what's up? So anyway, so you can see that just these gouges where the pit is.
Yeah.
And I'll give another shot of that. So you can see that all that stuff in between them, that's the red clay that it's almost impossible to dig with hand tools. You just can't.
Yeah.
It's just
those gaps you see in the army are actually from destroyed soldiers.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Well, I'm okay.
Oh, holy shit.
So anyway, so they took that, the Terracotta Army is going in there, and then they buried the whole thing up and made it this gigantic pyramid mound.
Yeah.
And then they planted grass and trees around it to disguise it. So you think it's just a regular hill.
Just a regular hill. That's just crazy.
And they were working on this since 246 BCE. And 210 BCE was when the emperor died. So then everything got into slam mode at that point.
Yeah.
So it took them 36 years to do all that.
That's crazy. At 13 years old, starting to build the tomb for your death.
Right? Now, I mean, he was supposed, because he was the first emperor of a unified China.
Yes.
It's, the Qin dynasty.
Yep. The Warring States was finally over. It was ruled by one ruler.
Right.
He was
and that's the kid from Menudo, who was 13 years old, becomes the ruler of a unified country. Pretty much the largest country in the world.
And it's kind of weird because it was almost democratic how he kind of comes in, right? That was kind of like the thing, like the Warring States had to all come to an agreement who the emperor would be to rule China, and they choose this 13-year-old kid who had no affiliation with any of the Warring States, though.
Yeah.
He was definitely,
which I think was a big part of that. And he was going to live a while.
Yeah. To continue on with
unification. So they're like, okay, we will all back you. You become our emperor.
Yep.
And then
he'll live long enough to keep it unified and keep it.
I don't know how long he was emperor before that, but all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we're going to build a tomb for you because you're going to die eventually. So we're going to make this happen.
But you had this. Okay, how do you feel? How do you think about this curse and the haunt and the attachment here? How do you feel? How strongly do you feel that this might have a lot to do with his obsession with the elixir of life, which ultimately is what killed him?
I think that has a lot to do with it. The mercury seems to be vitally important to this situation. I also think part of what's going on was because of the son
Old.
and what he did after his dad died
with the concubines and
with the concubines and the artisans and putting everybody in the tomb. And
Someone's coming.
imagine that though.
I
Like,
think that,
no,
I think that has led to a lot of the attachments or the haunts that are happening in the tomb area.
just imagine that. I need you all to go stand down there for me.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
mingle along the soldiers.
Yeah.
Okay, why? Well, we're just gonna throw some dirt over the top of you.
we're just gonna bury you. Nope, don't worry.
Little stepbrother thing. I'm still alive. Shh. Shh.
Or it's like, hey, we're gonna have half of you get in the pits, and then the other half is gonna bury you, and then we'll put them in the pits. That way we only have to do half the work.
Have to work, yeah. But
like digging your own grave.
Yeah. For some reason though, it really feels like his obsession in finding the elixir of life has a lot to do with the haunt and the curse,
Yeah.
or even the attachment to this eighth wonder of the world. It really is the eighth wonder of the world.
I mean, yeah, if you look at this thing, it's just awesome. There's just I've never seen anything like this.
No. And
I don't think anybody ever will. This
no.
was such an unprecedented thing, and it happened like a couple hundred years
I'm not
before
playing.
Christ was born.
Yeah.
And you're like, and they did all this by hand.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm blown away looking at this.
Yeah, they had no fucking excavators, bro.
So yeah, they didn't have any, backhoes or excavators or masticators or anything like that. They did all this with hand tools and blood, sweat, and tears. And that's another thing. I think that because 700,000 people were enlisted, they were recruited
to build this,
grabbed and forcibly made to do this. 700,000 people built this tomb, built the whole necropolis and everything. I think that has a lot to do with it too. All that energy and all that heart that everybody put into this. And then the mercury itself, I think the mercury, and this is where you're talking about the EMF. I think the mercury,
it's unknown.
Or maybe it's unknown. I think the mercury, is giving off that energy.
Shoes.
And I think it's keeping all that in there, in all that energy, all that, 36 years of labor that 700,000 people put into this thing, only to have them get buried in with it.
Yeah. So okay. So we have the count of the deaths of the soldiers and the horses, right? Possibly, if you believe in that part of the curse.
Right.
And then you have the deaths
you have nightmares.
Over 700,000 people.
Yeah. I don't think all of them were buried because they were just laborers, but a lot of them died and were just left there.
Hey, caveman's over on Instagram. What's up, caveman?
What's up, caveman? But the all the concubines were put in there. I don't know how many he had. And the son said that in particular, the concubines that did not bear children.
Yeah. So they probably had about 15 or so probably in there.
15, 20, give or take. And then all the artisans, everybody that designed this necropolis and designed the tomb, all had to go in there.
That's probably about 100.
That could probably be 100, 200 people.
Yeah.
And then how many people died building the thing, which is probably in the thousands.
Yeah. A lot of deaths surrounding.
Yeah. And then, there are people that, because of the curse, the second curse, where if you disturb the grave, have lived in poverty and died in poverty or died of disease.
Yeah.
So there are those deaths connected to it. And those could number in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Or even higher.
That's wow.
So I mean,
That's
we're talking if I'm just gonna
This is my place.
ballpark it at probably 15 to 20,000 deaths
associated with
associated with this.
that's pretty good ballpark, I think. I think that's still fucking crazy. I mean, don't let the 15 and 20 fool you. It's 1,000 after that. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of death.
That's 3
associated.
zeros.
Yeah.
For that.
I mean, we've talked about places like Penhurst that have had
1,000. I mean, Waverly Hills has had 10,000 deaths.
10,000 deaths. Yeah.
I just watched another documentary on Waverly Hills, and I'm like, man. And then it made me think of Caveman because that's close by where Caveman lives.
Cindy Cosmo's going there right now, bro.
Yeah,
going to Waverly. I'm like, oh,
what was the thing? Because she was talking with Jack
Osborne.
Yeah, that's what I saw, and I was like, dude, I want to go to Waverly so bad.
Yeah,
it was like one of the first places that we scored for my birthday that year because I was like, those are the 5 places I want to go see.
Dave's top 5.
Dave's top 5. That's still on my list, even though it was number 13 in our tournament.
And speaking of which, happy birthday, Dave.
Thanks, bro.
Because that's what 2 days away.
2 days away.
2 days away. This is technically Dave's birthday episode.
Technically my birthday episode, but I couldn't think of anything special.
We didn't do a Dave spectacular episode this year because Dave couldn't think of something that he wanted to do.
Yeah,
but
number one, I wouldn't get in trouble for because I got in trouble last year.
Yeah.
Number 2, the investigation that I wanted to do, the place closed permanently.
Permanently, yeah.
I was like, oh man, I can't do that one, and but hopefully, this summer in July we'll be able to do.
Yeah, that'll be pretty amazing. Working on
that. I've got some things lined up. So
yeah, this payday I should be getting all that scheduled up. So that'll be awesome.
It will be awesome. So yeah, I've got us aligned to go to the antique shop here in town.
Yeah,
that I did an investigation on. We're going to be allowed to do that one live.
That's going to be cool.
And also we can go to his house and do an investigation there.
Branch.
I would like. It kind of sucks we wouldn't be able to do that live.
We won't be able to do it live, and we will not be able to air it at all. This is just going to be a practice run for us.
Okay, that'd be pretty cool too.
That's what I said. I was like, oh, it'd be good things we could practice setting up cameras, getting stuff,
the camera set up
and then putting it together. Maybe kind of doing our own little documentary.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like he doesn't want that to air because he wants his house kept private. So, and I understand. I totally get it.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say happy birthday, Dave.
Thanks.
Because we us as guys don't really celebrate our birthdays like some people do.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that I wanted to make sure that you got, people know Dave's old. Dave's old. I just wanted the people to know that Dave's old.
in 2 days, I will be 54, and yes, that's old.
Bro, in like 36 days, I'll be 47.
Alan.
That's crazy. I'm like, wow, I'm 47.
I know, right? I'm like, oh man, what the heck? Well, I was like, my oldest son turned 32, and I was like, what happened?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny. My left side feels like 80. My right side feels like 28. And my brain says, quit being stupid.
You're not either one of those. Yep. But one of the things I want to do if we get a chance, and we can take this for sure offline, but every time I go to the beach, I drive by where James Dean died.
Yeah, I want to sit there for a bit. I want to sit there
How
for
do
a
you
bit.
feel?
I want to do an investigation there.
I want to sit there for a bit and take a couple hours and
Just see what we get. Just see what happens. And then combine that with the haunted object of the little bastard, which was his car
his car. Yeah,
that he crashed against that tree.
against the tree.
And see if we can make something out of that.
Yeah, I think it could. I one for me growing up, with my mom and around my oma and opa.
I like it here.
They love the old James Dean movies. Love the old James Dean movies. So I grew up watching his old. I mean, I'm too young to have watched them when they first came out, but and then they talk about his death, and so that's always kind of been a little fascinating. So I'd love to sit there and get the spirit box out or the ghost tube or the spirit talker and set up the cameras to see if it catches any ultraviolet, anything happening. Because that's the cool thing about the cameras. Again, they do ultraviolet and night vision.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, and I've got the dowsing rod. See if I can communicate.
Dowsing rods, yeah. I mean, and it'd be a weird place to get the EMF hit, right? So we pull out the EMF.
Well, it's just a tree.
Yeah,
tree in a parking lot.
That'd be a fun thing to do. Like, oh, we're gonna drive over here and spend a couple hours. That'd be cool. But okay, so let's get back to Terracotta Army. I know we're having a squirrel moment here.
We're having a squirrel moment, but it's what we do.
If you had to look at this, and we're not, here shortly we'll be scoring stuff, but if you had to look at what you thought drew us to do this episode for the Terracotta Army, what's that thing that made you want to do the Terracotta Army? Because for me, it's the fascination of 8,000 soldiers and things like that. And like, why, right? It's that curiosity for me. It's like, this is the craziest thing I've ever heard somebody doing in a time where just not too long before the pyramids were built. So it's because if I remember right, the pyramids are about 700 years older and this happened before this happens.
Yeah, that's about right.
They're about 1000 BC, if I remember right. 1000 BC, right in there.
Yeah. 3,000 years old, give or take. So yeah, that's pretty close.
So, and this is, especially for the time period of China, this is very unheard of. And so the curiosity was there for what was happening. What made them do this, right? What was that thing that made you? And of course, I thought, there's got to be something here. There's got to be something to this. We should do this for an episode.
Mm-hmm.
What drew you to this place that made you go, yeah, we should do this for an episode? Before the research begins.
Yeah, a lot of the same things that you're talking about. I've always been fascinated with the Terracotta Army, and how it was created, why it happened, what's the story behind it. But when I was originally looking up, it's 2024, when I was looking up like haunted or cursed objects to see what we could do for our shows, that popped up as one of the top haunted objects, and I was like, oh
yeah, it was top 10.
Army.
Top 10 and everybody's list. It's a top 10.
And everybody's list is a top 10. It's like, Annabelle doll,
Hope Diamond,
the Dybbuk box, the
woman from Lamb. I mean, these are all top 10 that we've talked about so far, and this was part of it. We've just kind of been putting it off.
Yeah. And then this one, it was kind of down on the lower end of that list, but I was like, dude, that's something I've always been fascinated with.
Right?
Just getting an idea of the history behind it, because China is so guarded.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get the whole story. So that was my first draw to it, was the fascination of it, and that it popped up on just about every list that I looked up.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy though, because like when I think of something like this and what was done with the 8,000 soldiers and all that stuff, this is I don't think of China when I think of something like this happening. Japan, yes. Like I can see like Nobunaga doing this. Something like this.
Okay.
But I wasn't expecting something like this in China. I think that's also one of the things that piqued my interest because you don't hear about something like this in China.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting that this type of event happens. Because for me, this seems like outside of cultural norms. Even back in 248 BC, this seems outside cultural norms. Oh, Dave's got a map.
Got a
That
map.
seems
That's
fucking
the map
huge.
of the mausoleum.
Close it.
Yeah, and there's the inner
And
sanctum
still
where they have
close
the
it.
pyramid.
And you can see the horse graves and then the Terracotta Army over there on the right. The craftsman graves. You know,
Dessert.
that's really cool. But yeah, I mean, all centered around this dude,
Yeah.
Chen Shihuan. And I did it again. but you know, they took a lot of this, you know, the stuff that they could remove is,
Yeah, I
you
guess
know,
they got an exhibit in England for this now,
they've
right?
got
They
a
got
museum.
some of this.
Most of the stuff is still in China, but they have allowed some of these pieces to get out.
Yeah.
They have tons of, like I said, they're all museums and gift shops and all this kind of crap. But there are some pieces that have gotten out and are in locations, but the majority of the army, the
you can
soldiers, they're
see
still.
I mean, every
Look at the
face.
the feators, the
is
way
di-
the heads bowed,
the head, the hair,
the
even the
shape
hair
of the head.
bobs on the top, and
Yeah, they're all different. I mean, by today's standard, this would be an undertaking like you would not believe.
dude.
To have them do this over 2,000 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
All with different facial features, and they were all different color when they opened up originally when they opened up the tomb, and everything oxidized so fast that it just went gray.
Yeah. Yeah.
But originally they had red skin,
Yeah.
red armor, white and black eyes, blue and green pants.
Yeah. This is one of the reasons why they have not opened up the tomb yet.
John.
Is because they want to be able to make sure
your name.
They want to make sure
they want to make sure to protect
that.
that.
That they this because how fast the discoloration happened with the soldiers, they don't want this to happen to the emperor. And until they figure out a way to where they can open up that tomb without that happening, they will never open that tomb.
Yeah.
The Chinese government is like, no, we're not opening it until we find a way.
We'll do scans of the inside, but we're not opening it
until we can completely preserve it, which is crazy because they do say the scans on the inside, the emperor seems to be completely preserved.
Yeah.
And that's
saying he was perfectly mummified.
How do you feel?
What if the dude's alive in there, bro? What if the dude really did find the elixir of life?
What if they did find the elixir of life and he comes out all
about fucking time?
God damn it! How long have I been in here? Wait, that should be Chinese, but just take it in Chinese. That's the best I can do.
My Mandarin, son.
My Mandarin's God damn it, boy! My Mandarin's a little rusty.
I told him not to close that door. It locks for me.
I said glass of juice.
Let's start that again.
Keeps popping into my head. That's not what I said.
That's not what I said. I said, don't close the door. Don't close the door.
Close the door.
I mean, imagine. I mean, think about that. I mean, what if he did find the elixir of life? What if he is alive in there?
That's
What if
Miracle.
miracle.
miracle? What if he's like the first fucking vampire, bro? It's like, oh shit, that wasn't Mercury we were seeing.
Oh, that's what it was. Oh, dude, that's
I mean,
that's a rabbit hole I don't want to crawl into yet. But yeah, what if? I mean, they verified that there's coins inside.
yeah,
They verified that the emperor is very well preserved in there.
yeah. It's this is man. I want more.
I know, and unfortunately,
We don't got it.
we can't get it. The Chinese government won't let out any more than that. I would love to visit here. I would love to just see.
That would just there. I mean, I understand there's a hatred
Restless.
between the Chinese government and the American government. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, but I'm not a political
And
person.
what a beautiful country! I would love to go visit.
It'd be it's
and the culture there.
A woman
It'd
here.
be phenomenal to immerse myself in, and to see something like this. I don't care if it was fucking in the middle of fucking Russia. I'd love to go see this. It could be in Iran for all I care. I want to go. You're gonna go to Iran to see this? Yes, I would go to Iran. Yeah. I don't care. I don't care what conflict we have. This is a place. This is the kind of place that you have to go see with your own eyes. It's one of those places.
this. Yeah, eighth wonder of the world. You have to see this.
Yeah.
There's the Great Wall.
I've seen one wonder of the world.
Past.
What's that? Grand Canyon?
Okay, I've seen two wonders of the world. Because isn't Mount Rushmore considered one of the wonders of the world?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So I've seen the Grand Canyon. I've seen Mount Rushmore. That's it.
I
The
haven't
world's
seen
biggest
any
ox
of it.
does not count.
None. I haven't seen any of it. No wonders of the world.
I'd love to see the Great Pyramids of Giza. And
I'd love to see the Great Pyramids. I would love to see the Great Wall of China.
Oh yeah.
I would love to see the Eiffel Tower.
Fascinating story in Great Wall of China that I read not too long ago was there's a belief now that wall was not to keep people out.
No. there is a belief now because the arrow holes are on the wrong side of the wall.
Yeah, they and it reminded me of the castle that we talked. No, the castle that we talked about. That all that are reporting inside.
Oh, right. The
Cusca
Castle. It's Huska Castle.
Yeah.
Huska. But I was remembering Great Wall movie with Matt Damon and how they were keeping out monsters. That's what I was thinking about.
That's funny too. But I was like, that's a little fascinating. I know it makes me want to go see the wall even more.
Yep. All right.
You ready to throw some numbers at this?
Let's throw some numbers at this because I think my score is going to change.
I can tell you right now, a lot of my scoring is probably going to change. Like I said, this might have been the lowest score I've given, other than the
How do we work it?
Menatune, the little people.
Oh,
in
Menahune.
And the little people.
I thought you were talking about artifacts. I mean,
this is definitely the lowest artifact that I've scored so far.
Okay, I'm definitely not the lowest artifact, but I'm Yeah, I'm pretty low.
Whereas one on Scare Network might be the highest one I've scored so far.
Well, I did go higher with that one, but not that much. But anyway, so the first thing we talk about is the attachments level of the artifacts here, and I believe there's an attachment.
I'm still at odds with this. Do I believe there's an attachment or the possibility of attachment here? Absolutely, absolutely. With that many deaths and what's going on, absolutely, I think there's an attachment here. Is my score warranted? Probably not. Probably not.
Because I mean, I think I underscored this.
Okay, what did you score it?
I went straight 5 here.
Okay, that seems better than where I scored it. I mean, it is better where I scored it. But I mean,
I was thinking about, I was like, okay, the concubines and the artisans and the 700,000 people that went to building it, the townspeople that were afraid of it when they would accidentally dig it up.
Yeah.
I really think that there's an attachment here.
Introduce yourself.
The Terracotta Army itself.
That's safe.
But I didn't know how strong to put that.
Yeah, I know.
I ended up going 5.
That's kind of where I was at, right? Because I'm thinking about this place, and I love the fact that every soldier and every horse and every artisan and every acrobatic and muscle man and duck and swan are there's no copy.
Politicians, there's
not a single duplicate statue in this place.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, that's there's got to be attachment like that. That makes me feel like these were people, and it kind of attaches me to it, right? That feeling. And I underscored. I scored it as a 2 because I when I'm scoring it, I'm just looking about what I read, right? And that's why I love having our discussions. Because it makes me think
I'm
more.
weak.
And then just processing data. That's why I love having discussions, because it makes me think instead of just processing.
Right.
So I think that if I had to rescore this after the discussion, what we talked about and everything that's happened there and what's going on, I think 5 would probably be the right number.
Okay.
For me.
Scared.
I think that would be the mark. I don't think it's higher than that. It could be lower than that, but I think 5 is right there.
Okay. Okay, then we'll stick with the 5. Because I do think it's the lowest of the 3. Now that we're getting into the haunt aspect,
it was my lowest of the 3.
Okay. Well, good. So I actually think the haunting aspect is higher than the attachment because of all the evidence. You know, somebody saw the soldier move, and you hear footsteps and marching, and hear people talking, and horses and reins and armor, and all this stuff is heard in the tomb.
Yeah.
So I do definitely think that there's a haunting here. I think the majority of it, at least from what I can gather, is residual. I won't know for sure unless I actually investigate.
Yeah, if I had to place this, like if we were talking about this as a location, this for me would be a residual haunt. But I
bet you dollars to donuts
that it's not.
Yeah, I'm worried that it's not, but I bet you dollars to donuts that inner tomb is not.
That inner tomb, I don't think is, and I think there's some power coming out of that inner tomb.
Now just said my name.
Hey, damn.
Huh. Yes.
Use camera.
That's the first time it's used both of our names.
That's the first time it's ever said both of our names. Less than an hour apart.
Yeah, 11 minutes apart.
Interesting. I think the haunt here is definitely higher than the attachment here. I think there's a power greater than what we're seeing here, especially with the inner tomb. I think there's a lot of residual here. This is crazy. I worry that there might be something divine here. I worry about that. Sometimes the old gods, they get angry.
Yeah.
If I had to put the haunt here at a number, I scored it one above my attachment level when I thought about it. My audio score was better than my haunting score. I would still keep this above the attachment. Is it a 7? Let's start there because I don't think it's higher than that.
I don't think it's higher. I went 6.
And then okay. All right. Okay.
So yeah, I don't think it's higher than a 7.
So that's kind of where I'm starting right now. I'm like, is it higher? I don't think it's higher than this number. So that's why I was like, I don't think it's higher than a 7. So if I had to max it out, I would say a 7. I wouldn't go any higher than that. I don't think there's enough evidence or anything like that to say that it's higher than that. But I struggle with calling it a 7 because I'm not sure it's a true 7.
Yeah.
Because
if there was something intelligent that was reported, like somebody answered somebody, or there was EVP, or something like that, then I would instantly go 7.
How do you feel?
Maybe even 8. But because everything that I'm getting seems residual at best. Yeah. I do think there's going to be high EMF here, and I think the high EMF could lead to something intelligent.
Yeah.
But because either the government's not reporting it, or at the very least, I can't find it. So that's why I ended up going 6.
I think I'm gonna meet you at the 6, and I think it's gonna be interesting on how these scores change in a few years since how little it's been open. The more people that they get in there, the more energy that seems to be coming around the place. I think we're gonna start seeing a little bit more things happening here. I think
attractive.
Yeah, I think it's attractive too.
I think it's attractive. It's an attractive. I agree with that. Okay. So the third aspect that we look for in a haunted or cursed object is
the curse itself.
The curse itself.
This is where I think the strongest is where the strength lies in this artifact that we're talking about tonight. And this, I originally scored a 4. Literally, I went 2, 3, 4.
Okay. We're leaving a lot of wiggle room here, bro.
No, I told you, dude. I processed that. I wrote a number down, and then I looked at my total score and went, "Fuck." I was like, I really can't wait for the discussion because that's what makes me start thinking. I don't think when this is gonna sound really weird, but I don't think when I do my scores. I just process data and write a number down. That's all I do. I don't think. When we have our discussion, I start thinking. And then I start drinking.
And then you start drinking. And then the thinking and drinking. Yep.
But okay. I think after the discussion, and I like how you put it with the 3 separate curses here. You have the curse of the land and what happened to those people. You have the curse of untombing the
first emperor disturbing the first emperor's
disturbing the grave, and then you have the curse of the people that were buried with him.
Yeah. Not to mention the fact that when they were digging up this stuff by accident, they thought that they were being cursed by the gods of the underground.
Buddha. They thought
they thought Buddha was like, oh shit,
a Buddha head, and they're all scared.
They were all scared. I think that is just another curse on top of that. And looking at what happened to the village.
Yeah.
and
I
the
I
people, not the 700,000 people that built the thing, the concubines, the artisans, the soldiers.
yeah,
If that curse is true, the plus the village being relocated and their buildings being destroyed, people
yeah,
living in poverty or committing suicide. Um,
yeah.
I
Living in
really,
poverty sucks.
I think this is I think curse is major. I think this score is is major, and I actually went 10. So you know I'm going to take your 4 and I'm going to double it and add 2.
I'm sorry. You said living in pottery. I said, yeah, living in pottery really
Living in,
sucks.
I did say poverty, but
You said
literally
pottery.
people were living in pottery.
You have
You
Um,
nightmares.
said pottery.
and I have nightmares. But they were, but then, and that brings to mind, you were talking about how you were concerned that there was something divine happening here.
Living room.
Yes. And that I was literally just gonna start saying that again. I think the possibility of being a divine curse. I mean, you've angered the
You've
god.
angered Buddha. You've angered
You
the
have
god.
angered the gods. Yeah, I think that that's like almost like a fourth thing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, there's power, and I think of all the other things about that we've talked about in the past with pissing off the gods and things that we've talked about off air pissing off the gods and things I've talked about with other people about pissing off the gods. I don't care which god you pray to, when you piss them off and don't do what they tell you to do, bad shit happens. And
Bad shit
all
happens.
and just fucking look at Pompeii.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Right. Well, and I wanted to touch on that one thing because when you talked about that, that reminded me of something I said in the history document.
What's that?
Was when they were when they were accidentally digging up these figures, they called it deity pottery.
deity pottery, yeah.
So they thought that these clay figures were of the gods
Yeah.
and that they were disturbing them.
After our discussion, I was kind of leaning towards the 8, right? But for some reason this divine portion of a curse really this is different, right? Because like we've talked about curses where people have died. What did it
And
say?
now it just said Sean.
What the fuck? I guess we're supposed to get together with Sean. If it says Billy next.
If it says Billy next, then we're definitely gonna have to talk to some people.
I think this is weird one. This is a weird one. Like we've talked about curses where people have died, like King Tut's tomb. There's a lot of death going on
Tessa.
there. With that curse and those objects. The women of Lem artifact, that curse, a lot of people died. What was the last one? The Hope Diamond.
Hope Diamond. Those are our only 10s. King Tut's tomb, the Hope Diamond, and the Women of Lem.
And I think
You shouldn't be here.
Is this equal to on the curse side to those? And now hold me out. This is just my own thinking.
Okay.
This is the only one well, no, that's not right. The Woman of Lem, we talked about possible divine curse. Okay, I'll meet you at the 10 here. I'll meet you at the 10.
Okay.
I'll meet you at the 10. Activity. This was really low on my scale, bro.
Okay, so we have activity associated with this.
It's not for you.
I guess it's not for you, but because this is not this is like
This is not like the normal activity we talk about.
no,
though,
this is like this happened 2,000 years ago. So these are the stories that have come, the activity that surrounds this. That
I want you to go.
I'm not gonna go. The village being relocated and the 700,000 people that went into building it, the village itself thinking they angered the gods, the stories of the people committing suicide and the people in poverty that they blame on the curse of the Terracotta Army. So I do have a score here. It's high mid-range. Because I do think there's activity connected to the object, which is what we're talking about.
Okay.
But as far as seeing stuff, there's not a lot of pictures or things like that of activity going on. So I did go 7 was my score here.
That's pretty high. That's pretty high. That's a high number, I think, for the activity here. I understand. I see where you're coming from. The repercussions of just this thing being built.
Yeah. And being excavated. The repercussions
and being excavated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I can definitely see why you throw that into the activity. I would half the points there instead of giving the full points, because when we think about activity, we're thinking about the paranormal aspect of the activity of the objects and things like that.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's part of the curse, that's paranormal activity in relation to the object.
I that's why I said I don't think they would deserve the full 2 point. It would be like the 1 point things for me.
Okay.
And while you were talking, this just popped into my head. What if, like those gaps that you see in the picture that you've shown quite a few times, where they found the basically destroyed, exploded soldiers and cleared them out, right?
Okay.
So like that big gap right there on the left-hand side.
Right.
That was all filled with soldiers, but they're all broken and exploded type. Like if you look at like the broken ones, they literally look like they were exploded. They didn't look like they just cracked and fell over.
They were just obliterated.
Just boom, exploded out.
There are some that are like
I'm not sure.
There are parts like you see the
what
parts
if
of
that was the escape, right? Like the soul escaping this soldier.
Wow. What I mean,
I don't know why that was popping into my head. While you're talking about,
are you drinking dragon's milk? I'm just gonna.
I am drinking the dragon's milk.
Okay, okay, because that seems like a dragon's milk comment, but I love where your mind's at.
What if that's like they escaped?
I mean, that's
like fuck this.
Sure that some of that could have been damaged in the excavation, but they were really careful about excavating it. I mean, there was a dude there, one of the original guys that found this. He was trained to dig. This was in the documentary. He was trained to dig, to excavate and to be careful about it. He worked in that pit.
Yeah.
Since 1978.
Yeah.
And
he's the one that I think actually he is the one that literally said it the way I said it. These things that I found that were broken weren't just broken. They were like exploded.
They were broken outward.
Yes. Outward, not inward, like they were
not
crushed.
Inward. Okay. Let me go. Let me go another way, because what happens to a body after it dies and it's encased in something?
Well,
the body fills up with gas and it explodes. So you could think of it that way too, which tells us that these weren't made from molds. These were people.
Yes.
I mean, whether it's body exploding or whether it's the soul trying to escape, or whether it's
all
some sort of activity
I don't know
or
what,
attachment.
I don't know why this popped into my head while you were talking about activity, but that's what popped into my head. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What if?
But,
and of course, these are what ifs, right? And a lot of these,
a lot of it has to be what ifs because we can't prove.
Yeah,
we can't prove what happened. But yeah, I remember the dude saying that the ones that were broken or destroyed were exploded, were outward.
Yeah, they didn't implode. They weren't
didn't just shatter.
They blew up outward. And to blow outwards under that much dirt, it really feels like a soul escaped. I don't know why. And I don't know why I thought about that while you're talking about activity, but for some reason that feels like activity to me, or poltergeist.
That feels like activity to me. Could that be poltergeist activity? Sure. Could the spirit have destroyed its own clay soldier because it was so mad that it died? Sure.
Almost makes me want to give an extra point to haunt.
I'm okay with that.
But I don't think I should because there's no record of the spirits.
There's no record of that. That's a speculation.
If the soul did escape, there's no record of a haunting being around. Right?
We give a half a point for potential.
Yeah,
for speculation.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll change the haunt here.
Okay, so where do we land on activity if we go with 1 point bumps instead of 2?
So if I look at the attachment and the haunting and the curse itself, and I think about the activity that is involved with all three, including my fucking brain going off on a tangent about fucking souls escaping.
Yeah.
I think I was originally at a 3 because there wasn't a lot for me. As we discussed, I see I'm wrong.
So 6? 5 or 6?
Beside you.
5, 6. No, I think 7 actually is the right number here.
All right, fuck off then.
Yeah, I'm sitting here. I'm looking. I'm thinking about.
I gave these 1 point, and I was like, I'm at 7. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where you were coming up. Because I was like
you were giving more points than I thought until I actually looked and started thinking about points.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the province is going to score low here. The province chain of custody.
Well, Providence. Really we go by how old it is. Okay, so I went high, and maybe I shouldn't have.
Providence.
Because I'm thinking King Tut's tomb was an 8, and that tomb didn't go anywhere.
But it wasn't just King Tut's tomb, though. We were talking. Well, and I think we have to talk about that here.
So now let's go back.
No, it was artifacts that got moved around and ended up in. I know, and it just hit my head that artifacts did move around and are
moved around London and all the museums. So stuff has moved around. Stuff has been.
There are some artifacts in museums and have been moved. So there is some providence there.
Yeah.
The age at 240 BC is basically when this started. So that's where I have to take it to. I can't take it to when he died at 28 BC or 24 BC.
210 BC was when he died. And that was basically when the sun went, okay, seal it up. Let's go.
Yeah. But I have to go back to 248 where it started. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, this place is one of the oldest that we've talked about so far. I think with the age and the little bit of movement with some of the artifacts, I think I went 6 is where I landed.
Farther.
I guess you have to go farther.
Help me, Dave. Help me go farther.
I think it's higher than a 6, bro. I mean, because I don't know what that said, but
it's a coffin. Man, this is a giant coffin.
It's a giant coffin. It's a necropolis. So yeah, it's a city of dead.
Bro, if this was history, this would be
history, it'd be a 10 no-brainer.
But this isn't history.
And that's what I did. And I thought of this as more of a history than of a provenance of the artifacts.
And you know shit like that.
I think stuff is in Cairo, stuff is in London, stuff is in Paris. Sure. I'm not sure. Stuff has come to the US and toured the US and then gone back. Most of the stuff is still in China.
They have had tours. Actually, the tours themselves was actually from the London exhibit.
Yes.
I did read that. It was actually from the London exhibit. It wasn't extra pieces that got taken out of China. It was from the London exhibit that took a tour. And I think they do it every 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, that they do a tour in New York, LA, Seattle. They hit a couple big spots.
They hit the majors, yeah. So I'm looking at King Tut's property.
King Tut was a little bit different because we had more artifacts, not just in the museums, right? We also had the artifacts, and of course those artifacts did the tour too. In fact, they still do the King Tut tour,
right?
Just like they do with this. It hits all the big museums that are throughout the United States, but it resides over there in Cairo. But what this doesn't have is the taking of the artifacts personally by excavators and scientists to their homes, right? It doesn't have the book being taken and rewritten. There's a lot of stuff that this doesn't have that King Tut's tomb did have,
or at least we don't know about because the Chinese
don't know about because the Chinese government. Yeah,
I mean, but we know that pieces were dug up for centuries.
Yes.
And we know that the people in 1974 grabbed the head and took it and was like, hey, head. And then they continued to dig and find all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think there has to be some that they are metallurgically studying, taken to labs and things like that, but that's never going to get out. But I feel that this should probably match King Tut as far as score wise.
I think King Tut beats this. I honestly believe King Tut beats.
I think the sheer size and the number of artifacts here, I think this has to be bigger.
But when I think about the definition of provenance, I can't think about the quantity of what's here. Like I didn't think about the quantity of what was in King Tut's tomb for its provenance.
But you thought about the quantity of what was elsewhere.
I thought not
the number of places that
number,
and I think there's just as there's easily as number of
artifacts that went different locations because that's what provenance is. It literally is like the definition is chain of custody.
It's basically it's basically a list of every place that this thing
every place has been.
And
are there things that we probably don't know about? Yes, I think is this going to be higher than my 6 that I put down? I'm with you there. Is this as good as King Tut? I'm not with you there.
Can you help me?
Okay.
With that, I'd probably go a point lower and go at a 9 because King Tut was a 10 all the way.
King Tut was an 8.
Oh, King Tut was that's right. King Tut was an 8 all the way. King
Tut was an 8.
I don't. Which one did we give a 10 to?
For provenance, that was where am I at? The Hope Diamond and the Women of Lamb statue.
That's right. The Hope Diamond, Women. I was like, it was the last one we talked about. Hope Diamond.
The Hope Diamond was our last one that we gave a 10 to the provenance. But that thing, I had such a history of where that diamond has been.
That diamond's gone everywhere.
That diamond was like passed around like
and surprisingly, the black opal or where the fuck one it was,
the black Orlov diamond,
Orlov diamond didn't get
My
a 10.
name is
I
Charles.
think it was pretty close to getting a 10 too, if I remember right.
I think it got a 7 for provenance.
Got us. Wow. Oh, that's right, because we couldn't find out where the other two pieces went.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the other two pieces we didn't have any record of. So the Hans Resistant painting and King Tut's tomb both got 8.
Over.
I don't think this is at the level of King Tut's tomb, though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not at King Tut. I think I went too high because I was thinking more of the history and less of the actual chain of custody.
Thank you for listening.
I think we might have underscored King Tut's tomb.
We might have underscored because I really think that I really think that this is an 8.
I thought we had King Tut at a 10.
No. And that was the main thing because we were talking about the tomb itself more so than the items within. And the tomb itself,
we actually did have record of King Tut of items being taken out. I think that not just going around the world on an exhibit, but
items being looted and stuff. We were actually
taking ownership of items from that place. So it's kind of weird that we did not find ourselves at a 10 there. I thought we did.
No.
This is what sucks about starting a season in a whole different notebook. I don't have that information in this notebook. I'm okay. This is how I'm gonna put it. King Tut, I think we underscored.
Okay. I agree with that.
But I think this should be at an 8.
I agree with that.
So I'm gonna put an 8.
Okay. So we'll put an 8.
I'll make it equal to King Tut's tomb, but I think King Tut's tomb we actually underscored. I don't think we took it into that.
Okay, so do we go back and change King Tut's tomb to a 9?
Idiotic.
I guess that would be wrong.
Well, I would say yes, but at the same time I don't think we do because that's us doing us being raw. We're one take only, right?
Yeah, so we're one take.
I don't think we should go change a score because we've in the future realized it should have been better.
Yeah, if we put these two in the tournament,
but when we talk about it,
and we have to match up provenance to provenance,
we can have that discussion.
We can have that discussion, and King Tut's tomb would probably win.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
I agree.
Visual.
10. Okay.
10.
Well, okay. I did not go 10 here.
It's a 10.
Because we're talking about what people have seen in relation to the curse, or
they have seen over 8,000 soldiers. They've seen over 700 horses.
But that's objects. That's not. Well, that could be the curse. Now that I
curse, we've talked.
We talked about that being a curse.
Part 2 of the 3-part curse.
Yeah. So, but that again, that's not proven. That's theorized that that's a curse, but it makes sense with all the stuff that we've talked about. That totally makes sense. Now, what we, like we didn't see any ghosts, nothing like that. We saw the thing move.
Had the one guy said he swore he saw something move, but there was no turn tracks or anything over there.
Yeah, but that could be spectral and not physical. So. So I wouldn't be surprised about that. I don't know if it's a 10. I would love to go 10.
I was at a 10 here. I thought about the objects, which is
because that's physical.
It's also you're seeing these objects.
I mean, you're seeing the objects, but you're not seeing the curse. You're not seeing the curse happen.
Okay,
but
but if
the objects are cursed, that's like Thor's hammer being in the elevator, and the elevator goes up, but the elevator's not worthy. That's kind of what we're talking about here.
That's funny. Shit, this elevator is worthy.
This elevator must be worthy.
I'm taking that one from now on. No,
Floor number 3,
what
please.
what I look at is I think about the curse, right? And you
There's
did
many
say
others.
you said it very well at the beginning as a 3-part curse here, and I wholeheartedly agree with what you said. I was kind of thinking that myself. I just really underscored the curse. But if you think about the curse, and if these guys were cursed into stone,
guys
you
were
are
cursed.
seeing the curse. You are seeing thousands
It's
of
a visual
examples
representation. I agree.
of the
I'm
curse.
not
Like,
I'm not faulting that. I don't think it makes it a 10 just because there's 8,000 of them. I definitely think that should be 2 points. Because it's a visual representation
Look.
of the curse. I also think
okay. Let me okay. All right. When we talk about visuals with alien events,
yes.
if you saw one ship, you saw all the ships. But if you saw
If we
30
saw
fucking ships, you would the multitude of ships, the quantity,
yeah.
sometimes
And I almost shot myself in the foot because I was like, if the ships are different,
no, because we just had that discussion last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we talked about this. So yeah, I can't deny it. I mean, based on the way that we score it, then visual has to be a 10 here.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I went. Now, if I thought about the haunting part of the visual, I would probably put this right around the same level as a 6. But I have to
that's where I was at. I was at a 6.
You have to think about the curse, the attachment, and everything that's going on here. And I had to go visuals as a 10.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I went 6 because I was looking at it toward the haunting level and the visually, visual evidence and things like that, which there isn't a lot of. So I ended up going 6.
Yeah.
But no, I totally see your point, bro. That makes sense. The way that we score it, it has to be a 10.
Yeah.
Speaking of 10s, what do you think for audio?
Quality. Audio, I landed at a 5 on the audio.
So did I.
Goodbye.
Bye.
I did something bad.
You did something bad.
You did something bad.
Well,
okay.
I said which first. It said which, and now I said I did something bad. Oh yeah. Before that's why I said group. There's many others. Yeah, that's kind of a group.
That's usually what a group is. There's usually many others. But yeah, no, audio, I think is a 5. I think there's actually audio evidence because people have heard the horses and the soldiers and the whispering and armor and stuff like that. So I think there's audio going on. Yep. I don't think it's intelligent. I think it's residual. So 5.
Yep. Right there with you. Right there with you.
Okay. Physical objects. How is it not a 10? Did you not go a 10?
I went complete opposite with you. And I don't know why I didn't automatically the right at 10 here. I agree with you, especially with the argument on the visual. But sometimes when I'm doing the score, Dave, I forget object is part of physical.
Object is part of physical. It's not just physical. I mean, although people were physically affected because the whole town was physically moved.
Yes.
Their houses were physically destroyed.
Yes.
So I think that in itself is a 10. But objects is part of physical.
Yes. It's a 10, Dave. It's a 10. Other than oh, yeah. It really is an easy 10. Again, over probably 9,000 objects in this place that you can just like the
doctor.
The quantity here is just phenomenal. So emotion. I'm interested in what you put on emotion. I am really interested to know what you put on emotion.
Okay, I gave this a lot of thought.
Jeffrey.
I did too. I really did too.
because I looked at it with, okay, this, the 7,000 people that went in to build it, the emotions that they felt when creating this.
Yeah, 700,000 people building this thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say the army was cursed to join their emperor. How did they feel when they were turned to stone and put into this mess? The village, the Yang village, who would accidentally dig it up and thought that they disturbed Buddha or that they angered gods. The whole village was in fear of digging something up that they shouldn't have. And they were in a drought to where they were desperate for water.
Yep.
And they thought for sure that they brought the curse upon themselves.
Oh, yeah.
To the villagers actually being moved, physically relocated.
Yeah.
And the poverty and the suicide connected to it, the way the government took and seized control over everything. I really had to go 10 here for the emotion.
I am shocked. I am shocked, honestly. This is where I thought you might actually score low.
Let's play a game.
But yes, I was wholeheartedly out of 10. Wholeheartedly out of 10 for everything that you just said.
It just all makes sense. And the whole thing is everything here is about faith.
Yeah.
And faith is an emotion that cannot be stopped. Your faith or your belief, it's so hard to change.
Yeah.
That's why people say you should have an idea, because you can change an idea, but you can't change belief.
Yeah.
So I think the emotional connection to the tomb itself, the emotional connection to what the curses and the way that the Chinese believe, I think it has to be a 10.
Yeah. But yeah, right there with you. I mean, there's this, honestly, the emotion was the easiest score for me when I was doing my scores.
I really wanted to scrutinize it, but I could not come down from a 10. In fact, I don't think it's a true 10. I think it's higher.
Yeah, no, this would surpass the 10 level here. With the emotion behind what
I would put this up against, and we have a lot of 10s for emotional, considering the in fact, every object that we've talked about is a 10.
Get out and leave.
Except for the hands resistant painting.
Yeah, I can understand that. I really can. The way objects the way these objects make people feel and what occurs happens to the people around these objects. I can wholeheartedly see why the 10 is probably the emotional aspect of objects is always going to probably be pretty high, because you don't have a high emotion and say that this place is cursed. You don't have a high emotion and say that doll is haunted. You don't. It's so these objects are probably always going to score very high on the emotional level, because the emotions are kind of what lead people.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I really think that if we score something with a low emotional level, then that object's going to get low total score. Because if there's no real emotion connected to a cursed object or a haunted object, then we don't think much of it. And then it's not.
I doubt that we're going to ever score something with low emotional.
It
might not be a 10.
I think we might have a few more that are below 10, but I don't think we have anything lower than, say, a 5 or 6.
Yeah, and I'm right there with you, because the emotional is what starts it, right?
Yeah. Okay, where did you land on the danger level? Because this was I was torn with this one.
I'm a little conflicted with after the discussion. I scored this very low. I look at this, I'm like, is this place dangerous? Is this artifact dangerous? And I was like, no, I don't really think it is. I was at a 2, right? Like, I can go there and feel fine coming home, and that's kind of how I look at the danger. Do I worry about going to this place? And I don't worry about going to this place. That's what fucked me on Penhurst when we scored that place.
Yeah.
But it probably should be a 10, but I put my own feeling in it, and it didn't end up being a 10.
Didn't end up being a 10. I ended up 10 for me and an 8 for you, so it got a 9. But here's the thing: is I had to consider that. Yeah, am I in danger by going there? Probably not.
Was there danger involved with this? And I go back to that divine presence and everything and angering the gods and everything. I think there was a danger here, and I probably underscored the danger level, and it probably should be closer to a 5.
A 5 is good. 5 is good. I might meet you there. I think that probably a 5 is the right answer. Now, I originally went 7, and I went 7 because I think the people of the Yang village have been just devastated by this curse.
Yeah.
And by this tomb and by what's happened for thousands of years. They were punished. People were killed, buried alive, and they had droughts and famine and nastiness and people dying and suicides, all this kind of stuff. If you're from Yang Village, it's a 10.
Yeah, if you're from
If you're from Yang Village, it's a 10. I think if you're from Yang Village and you had to deal with this at any level, then it's a 10 for you. It's the most dangerous thing that you could deal with.
Yeah.
Me from my end of the woods, yeah, probably a 2, maybe a 3.
Yeah.
So I originally went 7 because I was thinking more of the people in China and the belief system there. Yeah. I will meet you at that 5 because I think that's the right number.
Five it is.
The children are playing.
Okay.
Let's see. I want 3, 6, 12. I went up a lot. 16, 18, 20, 21, 26. I went up 29 points, which makes this as a 79.
Actually, I got a 76 for the total.
His.
Devil.
You got a 76 total?
Yeah.
What did I mess up?
I don't know.
21, 28, 36, 46, 51, 61, 71, 76. Yeah, it's a 76.
76.
I must have messed my math when I was.
You must have messed up your original score.
No, probably calculation of what I went up. Because I was at a 50. Okay, let's look at this. 2, 5, 9, 12, 18, 28, 30, 35. 45, 40, 47.
Thomas.
I don't know. It's a 76.
76.
That's a 76. Ah, man, but this is 26 points higher than what I originally had it. I was at a 50. Ended up at a 76.
Yeah.
Where did you originally
admire?
I was originally at a 76.
Really?
Yep. So I fucked around and still ended up at a 76.
Went down and went up. And
I went down and went up. And
still ended up at the 76.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's great. That's great. I fucking love that.
So that's pretty darn good. So
yeah.
So the big question here, what do you think of the Terracotta Army? Is it cursed? Is it haunted? Is there an attachment? Or is it all just one big coincidence what happened to the town and what's going on with the figures?
I think there is a lot of TBD here, a lot of to be determined. I think what happened to these people very well
attachment.
Feels like a curse. And I if I had to look at, even looking at from the outside, I think they were cursed in some sense with what happened. If I think about the 8,000 soldiers and everything like that, and the epiphany I had with the explosion of those bodies, very well these soldiers could have been cursed. My big to be determined is that haunting level there. I think this. I know we scored it a 6.
Island.
I think this could very much have a huge potential of becoming a 10, and I think I think that factor is gonna happen when they open up the inner tomb.
Inner tomb. Yeah.
When they open,
I think that's going to be the big thing when that inner tomb is opened. When they figure out how to do it, and they open that inner tomb, I think they're going to set something loose.
And I don't think it's going to be happy.
I don't think it's going to be happy. I don't think it's going to be a good thing. I don't think the emperor is going to walk out, but
it'd be fucking hilarious.
It'd be freaking amazing. And guess what? Found youth, bitches. But I definitely think that something is in that inner chamber, something intelligent, possibly non-human, possibly divine.
If I have to think about the Terracotta Army and everything that we discussed, I'm gonna land that this is a cursed. I'm not gonna say cursed object. I think this is a cursed event.
Okay.
What has happened here, the whole part of it, and like I said, could be 3-part or 4 parts, whatever, how many parts you want to put in, the curse is there. But I can't give this place a 10 on the curse and say that this is just bad shit that happened to people.
Yeah, no, I can't. I think it's too much of a coincidence. All at the same time to these poor people. And even in this discovery that should have made them famous,
healing,
they didn't get anything out of it.
No, these guys should be living high on the hog, as I like to say.
Exactly. These guys should be living large.
And 2 of the 5 survivors are making $2 a day signing books and telling stories.
Yep.
So that's
so yeah, I think the curse is real. I think this is definitely cursed event. I like how you put that. I do believe that the Terracotta Army is cursed, and it makes sense that it's centered around this one thing.
Yeah.
But now, I shudder to think if anyone actually steals an artifact from this place.
Yeah.
Not to mention what the Chinese government will do to you, but what the Terracotta Army will do to you.
And I have to say, event. I can't just say the army. I have to say the event, the creation of the tomb, and everything. I think
the whole thing. I think the 700,000 people that took part in building the thing. Yeah. It's something that I don't think has ever been done.
Just said there's a curse,
but it also said attachment. So
yeah, it said attachment there too.
But yeah, I do think this is cursed, but I think this has got a little bit of everything, but a lot of a curse.
Yeah.
But I also think there's somewhat of an attachment and also somewhat of a haunting going on. And I think all of that will get worse or bigger once that inner chamber is opened.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the opening of King Tut's tomb and that curse might be a minor thing happening compared to what might happen here when they open that up.
Yeah. Shooting a bullet and throwing it. All right. Let's say we get out of here, brother.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, because we didn't do it at the beginning of the show, I want to say thank you for Spotify for podcasters. That is what allows you wonderful people to listen to us on all your favorite places like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker Podcast, Radio Public, Apple Podcasts,
I'm
iHeartRadio,
eternal.
Music. And the reason why we say those names specifically because that's where you can actually listen to our show. But it is a great place to start your podcasting career. It's completely free. They actually put you on all those other places completely free, not just Spotify. And as you continue to grow your fan base, they will help you out monetarily by helping you out with finding sponsors for your show. So thank you for Spotify for podcasters. Also want to thank Restream. Restream is why we get to do
StreamYard.
StreamYard. StreamYard. StreamYard is why you get to see our lovely faces. Like I haven't done that in a long time.
StreamYard.
StreamYard. Why you can see our lovely faces on YouTube at Spirit Spirits or Facebook at Spirit Spirits JD, and of course on the Instagram at Spirits of Spirits 13. Of course, even TikTok. Even though we're not live on there, it's a great place to see some of the history videos and stuff that we're putting out there. I'm even starting to put out some other clips of our shows on those locations. So keep an eye out for those. So thank you, StreamYard, for doing that for us. Even though we do pay for it, it is awesome, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you. And of course, thank you to Scare Network, which is what we're getting ready to go do and talk about the artifacts of Pompeii. We love being part of the Scare Network family. They are an amazing group of people.
Raymond.
And they put out amazing different documentaries and movies and true crime. So go check those guys out. We appreciate Billy and the team over there. So thank you, ScareNetwork.tv. Appreciate you. And thank you for Dragon's Milk for making me feel happy.
For making me drunk.
For putting 2 beers in me and making me feel like I drank
6.
I love you, Dragon's Milk.
So, and then and since I had to go with the Chinese beer to go with the Chinese thing, so I have my Sing Tao. So
the Dragon Zodiac, I thought it was right there with it.
The Zodiac, but yeah, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for checking us out on the replay. Again, you can find this on Spotify as soon as we upload it. And then you can listen to us on your favorite podcast network, but go over to Spotify and give us a follow there because that's where we get the credit.
Follow, like, subscribe to it.
Check everything out. We get about 100 views a week, or 100 listens a week on Spotify.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Pretty good. And I've noticed they really like our alien stuff. So
yeah, the alien events seem to be doing the best over there. And followed by the locations. They really like the locations. Hopefully the objects start coming into play over there. But I'm telling you, man, we are
more familiar stuff like the Annabelle doll and things like that. We'll get some hits on those.
Oh yeah.
But the Women of Lim statue, not a lot of people have heard of.
Well,
but maybe we'll see some action with this one. So I'm looking forward to that. But
anybody that's watched The Mummy 3 knows about the Terracotta Army. So
exactly. So yeah, you guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time on the Spirits of Spirits podcast. Bye, everybody.